This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, welcome to It's a Doggy Dog World. I'm your host, Liz Palika, and with me today are my good friends Petra and Kate Abbott.
Howdy.
And today we're talking about a training issue that we've run into a lot more with our training classes, or we've had more questions about in our training classes, and that's teaching your dog to relieve himself in the house in some manner. Not on the carpet, but in an organized manner. A few years ago, I wrote an article for a dog magazine, and it was about house training for dogs who lived in the big city. And I interviewed a number of people who had dogs in New York City, and there's a lot of dog owners in New York City, as well as dog owners in Chicago, two of the top biggest cities in our nation. So I talked to a variety of dog owners, and there were all kinds of different ways that they house trained their dogs. So we're going to look into it a little bit, as well as why you or I or someone else might want to teach your dog to relieve themselves in the house. I mean, Petra, you have your Pomeranians.
I do, and the reason biggest one I have is 8 pounds. But the reason I do is I live out in rural area.
The booties.
I have coyotes. There's probably bobcats around. Luckily, I haven't seen any.
Hawks.
Right. Hawks, owls.
There's a pair of golden eagles.
So unfortunately, my little palms would be just a little
hors d'oeuvre
for any of those. So mine are house trained to go on. I use a potty pad, a disposable one, in my bathroom, and I've trained them to use that. Now they do know when I'm home. I do let them outside, and they know go potty, and they have
And that's a safe and closed porch.
Yeah, and on top of that, yes, there are 2 yards right out of my house. They don't have room to cruise the acreage because they would just again be hors d'oeuvres. But mine are when I'm gone to work all day. They are potty trained. Yeah.
But there's a number of reasons why dog owners want to do this. I mean, one dog owner that I talked to who lives in Chicago lives on the 38th floor. And the building has 2 elevators, but he says in the morning when everybody's going to work, those elevators are going and going and going and going. And his dog was crossing her legs and trying to be a big good girl. And he said after a couple accidents, he said he gave up on that.
It's not fair to her.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
So he set her up to go potty in his apartment. And what he did, and we'll go into ways to do this later, but he taught her to go in the shower. And he would pick up any solid waste and any other when he got home or after she relieved herself, just got cleaned up. And I thought that was brilliant. I mean, you can bleach your shower.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the elevators weren't screeching up and down, she'd go out for her 2 or 3 daily walks. So she still got outside, still got to go outside, still got exercise. But when the elevators were busy first thing in the morning or coming home in the evening, she had an alternative. And while he was at work, that she had an alternative. Or living in Chicago in blizzards. So
yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, what about weather?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go outside and drop my drawers in a blizzard. I mean,
and you know what? And right now we've got those hurricanes.
Yeah.
Same thing. You're not those crazy winds. Your dog's gonna be a kite on a leash. You're not gonna want
a number of people. And while we're recording this, by the way, Hurricane Irma is beating up Florida, so that's why the hurricane comment. But there were several people posted on Facebook that they had potty areas set up in the garage or the basement or wherever for the dog to relieve themselves.
You can't take them out to the backyard if it's under 3 feet of water.
Or if the wind's blowing 120 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Kate, you have a list of some reasons why people might want to do this besides work hours, busy elevators, and so forth. And there are actually quite a few reasons.
So the inability of the puppy dog to hold it. Now that could be because the owner works
long hours.
Even 8 hours. I pee during 8 hours.
I can't hold it 8 hours unless I'm sound asleep.
Or as the puppy dog gets older and, absolutely can't hold it,
Mm-hmm.
even for 2 hours maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, or surgery or injury, something along those lines.
Sure.
So, inability. Phobic dogs. So, whether they have a reason to be fearful, like your little ones,
Yeah.
I mean, they have
Don't want to be eaten.
a good reason to be phobic. You have a good reason to be phobic about letting them outside.
Right.
Other dogs are worried about being outside.
Several of the dog owners that I interviewed in New York City talked about that. Crowds on the sidewalks, cars honking.
Yeah,
It
curb
is
your
crazy.
dog while all
Yeah.
this is going on around them.
I mean,
Yeah.
Liz and I have gone there a few times, and it can be overwhelming for us.
Well, we're California bumpkins going to the
Yeah,
big city.
that too. But you just imagine being like, a couple inches to a couple feet off the ground and all this stuff going on.
Well, not only that,
Some
the
dogs
law
break down.
says that dogs have to be curbed. They
Yes.
have to step off the curb to relieve themselves.
Yeah.
Into the middle of traffic. Well, not the middle, but still.
Yeah.
You just see some of those taxi drivers.
Yeah. Over time, they're calling it, and that's just another, maybe your puppy dog is used to, say, 6 hours or even 8, maybe, of
Mhm.
holding it. But then there comes that time when you have a flat tire on the way home, or you.
And meanwhile, the dog's going, gotta go, gotta
Yeah.
go, gotta go.
Yep. And for a lot of puppy dogs, I can think of some of my own dogs that if they had to do in the inside, they were mortified.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not fair to them. Housebreaking and potty training puppies. Okay.
I can imagine this gentleman I talked to who lived on the 38th floor. Can you imagine getting a 8 to 10-week-old puppy out as often as they need to?
Because you've got 30 seconds warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're on the 38th
Floor, and
Yeah,
you gotta
no,
wait
it's
for
not-
the
Yeah,
elevator?
I'm not gonna.
You're going to end up peeing in the elevator, which is even
Or on
Yeah.
him
mortifying
while-
for everybody.
Or on him while he's holding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do recommend that if you're doing this with a puppy and you want to transition to outside, think about where you're putting their indoor potty in a strategic place so you can easily transfer to outside as things change. But, as a temporary motive, there are some dog owners that have limited mobility,
Mm-hmm.
and they are not able to get their dogs out as often as the dog needs to.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know dogs that have created or have ended up with bladder infections and so forth
From holding it too
from
long.
holding it too
Oh,
long.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just psychological or sanitation. It can be a physical problem for your dog. And then those dogs with special needs, they may have mobility issues.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't get around as quickly as they need to. So they need a comfort station closer at hand.
Yeah.
Or
Station.
comfort
That's
hall.
cute.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the dogs that people would be more apt to house train inside. Granted, if we look other than the big city, because in big cities, or any cities, a lot of the dogs in the cities are actually big dogs, because some of the big dogs are calmer than many little dogs. And barking's an issue if you live in a city. You don't get away with a yapper very often. You've got to be a good, responsible dog owner. So probably the majority of dogs taught to go potty in the house are little dogs, but in the cities it can be any size dog, which means a little more creativity as to where you ask your dog to go.
Which almost would be knowing how some apartments are small.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to find their comfort area, like you mentioned, for a big dog. You got to have a fairly good
I
How
size.
do you work this into your decor?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd go back
Yeah.
to
Teach
the
them to go to the
shower
shower.
of the tub.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean,
Teach
talk
them
about
how to go in there.
ease of cleanliness, and especially for a big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go back. You certainly couldn't do
Yeah.
a litter box for a big dog.
Yeah. They half your room, if not all of it.
But just you throw that out there. That is an option for some dogs. The litter
yeah.
boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
Put an indoor dog potty area or whatever you want to put in your search, and it's amazing the amount of stuff
Oh,
that's
yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Well, let's
We've
talk.
gone far beyond putting newspapers down on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Ways you can do it. The shower and the tub were the most commonly mentioned. Now, granted, I wrote this article maybe 6 or 8 years ago, and there's lots of new products out there. But the shower, the tub was the most commonly mentioned potty area for the people I interviewed who lived in New York City and Chicago.
So did they put anything in the shower tub?
No, just straight to the shower. The only thing that was mentioned by a couple of them were nonstick vinyl things, so the dog didn't slide.
Yeah, that would be my thought. I mean, I couldn't, the palm, no.
They
The bigger dog, I could see going in there like, and sliding all over.
Sure.
So something.
Especially
Yeah.
to get into that rather awkward-looking position to poop.
Yeah.
Especially for a big dog.
Yeah.
You want them to feel secure.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are vinyl things on it. But
Yeah.
the big thing was the dog went in,
Yeah.
relieved himself. The liquid would drain down to the drain when the owner got home, pick up the solid pieces, and clean it.
Bleach it. and then
Okay.
go.
Not that I'm known for being a neat Nick, but the only thing that I would like putting the potty pad in the shower is to keep the pads clean. So if they pee and they're stepping in their pee, or a mat outside.
Yeah, I did.
see.
For them
To be
to step-
perfectly honest, I didn't ask them if they had a mat outside.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
sure.
that would make sense.
I would guess probably most of them did, but I
Yeah.
didn't ask about that. Yeah, if you have a bath mat that you can throw in the washer.
Yeah.
Well, and I did just get a call the other day from someone who said her male dog always pees on the dog's own front legs.
Oh, lots of boy dogs do that.
And she was like, the smell is pretty,
Yeah,
and you bring them in. So that's kind of on my mind. If they're going in the shower, can they
Yeah.
avoid stepping in it?
yeah, or a mat outside.
It's not their fault. We have to figure it out
Yeah.
for them.
After the shower, the tub, litter boxes have been traditionally the next tool, and there's all kinds of stuff you can put in a litter box.
But not kitty litter.
No
No,
kitty
not
litter.
yet. Yeah,
Don't
not
put
kitty
in
litter,
clay
not
litter, and
self-clumping.
especially don't use clumping because, on one of the vet shows this weekend, a 14-year-old dog had eaten some clumping cat litter.
Oh, no.
Didn't kill her, but almost did. They showed the x-ray, big round clump in the middle of her belly of clumping cat litter.
Yeah.
Now, some of the newer clumping cat litters are taking this into account. I think too many dogs have eaten it. And there are ones that break apart with a lot of water. So with this dog, what they did is they just put her on a huge amount of fluids and just flushed her. And overnight, this broke out. But
Okay,
the
so I
old-fashioned clumping clumps.
So the main reason that most dogs eat the clumping litter is because the cat has used it,
Right,
and but there's also dog appropriate.
right.
But I like that idea that they're actually making cat litter that's less
Dangerous to dogs.
dangerous. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. I learned that on TV.
Well, see,
See what happens when you watch Animal Planet.
it's not just a boob tube.
Or National Geo.
National Geo, yeah. Nat Geo.
It can inform as well as entertain.
One of the types of litter that's most popular in dog litter boxes, and in fact, one of the local rescues that I volunteer with here uses it for their dog branch, and that is the wood pellets, like pine pellets, and they're probably sawdust or wood chips run through very, very fine, compressed really hard, and they come out looking like wide spaghetti and then breaks up in pieces.
Huh.
And it absorbs moisture very, very well. And I guess because it has a wood smell, maybe it attracts the dogs. But as soon as it gets wet, it crumbles into nothingness.
Okay, good.
So it's not like a clumping cat litter.
I just was reminded of another student. Their dog went through 2 courses of Giardia treatment and was still coming up positive. So the vet actually had them keep the dog going inside, thinking that it was reinfecting their yard.
Or if they have a bird feeder.
It gave them a chance to clean up the backyard and not to pass it on to anybody else in the community. And
Right.
so they had to put potty pads down for the dog in the house
Yes.
during this time that they were treating
that,
for the 3rd time for Giardia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are, if you go to a large pet store, there's a variety of different types of litter that are specifically for dogs. So that's one option. One that we've seen more and more is the fake grass, the AstroTurf kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And nowadays you can get little wall, boundary, border,
With
Boxes?
With your-
boxes, whatever you like to call them.
with your choice of decals. To make
you can
it
get pretty
pretty.
fancy, so yeah,
You
so
can put your own wallpaper on it.
you could.
Well, we were just looking on the interweb.
There's all kinds of new products.
My gosh, there's one that
Oh,
has
what's that one that self-cleaning one?
Woofloo.
No.
Oh, the other one.
The other one.
I forgot the name of that. Okay, so that one has the long rolls of the potty pads.
Right. Well, and
periodically,
yeah.
I don't know if you can set it or whatever, if it senses it, it rolls up the use section and unrolls a new section for your puppy dog to use. So that's one way to keep it clean. That's with the pads, the cloth pads. The other one had the grass over grating, and then you could set your timer so that little sprinklers would come up and wash away all the pee. You still have to pick up the poop, but it would wash away the pee, and then you have another way for it to drain. You can only imagine the plumbing that goes on to get water to it and away from it.
And springing a leak in the house, or in my mind goes different ways. If you've got this set up for your dog to use while you're at work, and it sprays down the urine, and it sprays the poop that may have perhaps been solid, but now isn't.
Right. I'm thinking too.
There's another thing. When I had my kitty cats, I did have the self-cleaning litter box.
Oh yeah, I did. I had that one time.
Motion activated. But there was also, if there was motion in the box, it would not clean to prevent the rakes from coming through while the cat was still in the box.
Right.
The one that we saw didn't see. You just set it for so many minutes or hours. So what if your dog's in there taking a poo
and the sprinklers go on?
Yeah, is he going to use it again the second time?
Yeah, probably not.
And that's not a pun. Poo second anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some. I don't know about the.
Yeah.
But there are all kinds of pads and.
They have the washable pads of different prints.
I'm sorry, I don't want to wash them.
Well, my thing is that when I look at it, I think of a little rug. So if you're going to have one of those, you really got to make sure you don't have any rugs that look similar or
smell the same.
Yeah.
What if you wash your throw rugs and then wash this rug?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, as soon as I hear designer and then poopy pads, they just don't seem to go together. Designer poopy pads.
Because they look great.
And then there's the boy dogs. So some of them you can put a little fire hydrant in the very center.
Yeah. And the only thing I can think of is it better be a small dog.
Yeah.
Because
that could be a really big
just thinking about my two 40 and 50 pound dogs, they can get some distance.
Distance, yeah.
That's true.
If I put a fire hydrant in the middle of a doggy litter box, it might still shoot 2 more feet.
Need taller walls to catch it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we need to take a break for our sponsors, so hold on. We've got a lot more to talk about when we get back.
Sit, stay. It's a Doggy Dog World. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed, but I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. We know you're begging for more. So back to It's a Doggy Dog World with your fetching hosts, Liz Palika, and this week's co-hosts, Kate Abbott and Petra Burke.
Welcome back to It's a Doggy Dog World. This is your host, Liz Palika, with my good friends, Petra Burke and Kate Abbott. All right, so you've decided that it's a good idea for your dog to relieve herself inside, that your reasons are not just that you don't want to get up in the morning. You've chosen a place for her to put the box or for her to go, whether it be the bathtub, the shower, the litter box, the potty pads, whatever. So how do you teach them?
I used an X pen.
Huh?
I actually used an X pen, and and it was like teaching them to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I brought them every time it was potty time. You go in there, and I just closed the X pen and waited for them to go potty. And then when they did, gave them the command and a treat, and they would start going on command.
Okay.
And then they also got to know that was the same place they went all the time. So that's why I don't have accents in the house. It's because I, thank goodness, a big bathroom, and they always go on the potty pad.
It's a big bathroom, but as I remember too, you have their beds in one area and the potty pads in the other. So
Yeah, because when I'm not home, I have a baby gate, and they're in that area.
the dogs naturally don't want to soil their bedroom.
Unless
Right.
they've been in a pet store or crated too much.
Yeah. Put it into an unnatural situation for
Yeah.
too long.
Yeah.
So you can use that even with an X pen if you have the bed on, or a large crate for a small dog.
Yeah,
X pen on a bedroom on one end, potty on the other.
right,
But don't mix the two up.
right.
Don't ask them to stay in the crate.
So essentially,
Right.
limiting freedom is a big part of it
Limiting freedom, and then a lot of praise when they
when they do.
can't help but go in the right place.
Right. Right. And I think limiting the freedom is the hardest thing for most owners. But it is for teaching the dog to go potty outside, too. People too often let the puppy have the run of the house.
How
And
many times have I answered the phone and I hear, but we've got a doggy door. Why doesn't he use it?
Didn't read the direction.
yeah, they've got to have that positive reinforcement when they do go.
Then that's my answer. Why should he
Yeah.
or she? Why should
Yeah.
they go outside? That's an awful lot of trouble to go to.
Yeah.
So why should they go to the trouble of finding the potty pad if they can just go 3 feet behind the couch?
Yeah.
So you got to
And-
prevent them from
And
going.
no, don't scream and holler at them and rub their nose in it when they go in the wrong place. As Kate
You
says,
find it 10 minutes later.
yeah,
Oh, I know. Okay, so I have to admit, I do build it up in class. Well, you move the couch, and behind there you find the poo and the pee. Oh, what should you do? Well, here's what I want you to do. And they all bend in a little bit closer. I want you to go get a newspaper or a magazine, and I want you to roll it up tight.
and they start to look
I
horrified.
know, like, oh my god!
I thought this was a better training facility than that.
And you go right back to that pee and the poop, and you look at it real hard, and you hit yourself over the head and say, bad owner, bad owner.
And then they giggled nervously like, oh, okay.
And then I just like to let them think about
I
that for a
love it.
second.
I love it. I love the look on their faces.
It is kind of fun,
It
and
is.
it's kind of mean, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my point is, it's the owner's fault for allowing too much freedom
Freedom.
Yeah.
before
Right.
the puppy dog is ready for it.
Yeah.
All right, now you've got your dog house trained to the house, to his spot in the house. He's going to it pretty well, or going to it very well. What happens if you also want him to go outside?
Same process. I'm wondering, it might actually be helpful to take a portion of what you have been using outside with you.
Take a little baggie of the litter. Take a
target.
little piece of the potty pad. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I did.
Maybe a big piece at the beginning, and then slowly make that piece smaller and smaller and smaller.
Use the same command. Go
Yep.
potty or get busy or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Transfer the idea to a new location. Yeah.
And again, consistency, rewarded them when they do it, and I actually didn't have any issues getting my guys to do it. So, yeah, when I'm home, it's like, okay, go outside, go potty. They go out to their spot. Good.
And for the big dogs, they actually do have the advantage of a bigger bladder. I mean, some of the small, it's not like the Chihuahuas we see. You know they have to go every 2 hours.
I mean, their bladder's the size of a peanut.
Yeah, they literally have to go more often.
Yeah, yeah. And then one last thing that we get questions about, and Petra, I know this, you use this on one of your Pomeranians, but what about the boys that lift their leg? Belly bands are not a bad thing.
No, I do. He wears his belly band, and the thing is, we call it his diaper.
Sure.
Like, Benji, your diaper, he comes right over, puts himself in his position, stands there, and waits for it to put on, and he's like, oh, happy.
For those
Like
of you who
clothes.
don't know what it is, a belly band is a wide band of usually of soft cloth that you can put a feminine pad on the inside and strategically positioned so if the boy decides to lift his leg in the house, he's peeing in that pad and he's not marking on your furniture or anything else. It does seem to be more common with little boy dogs.
Yeah, male dogs. I know
Little breed dogs.
yeah, small breed male dogs. And that's probably the
Yorkies,
number one I hear.
toy poodles, Poms, for some reason.
I will say somebody showed me a belly band once it was like a child's diaper. It was very plastic and very bulky.
Oh, they're gotten much better now.
And the dog wouldn't, this was only a few months ago, and the dog, would not accept wearing it. It would sit down and try to rip it off because it wasn't comfortable.
Mine's jean material. So
There you go.
It's jean material, then it's like a flannel on the inside. So, and my mom put, he would do Velcro. So it just Velcros right across the top of his back.
Yeah.
A little jean thing.
Another woman, she used kitchen towels, and she just sewed them a little narrower and put some Velcro on them. So they were comfortable.
Yeah.
So to be fair, you make it comfortable for the puppy dog to wear while you're being blocked.
And if you look at some of the dog supply catalogs, there's all kinds of them. I mean, there's designer patterns and leopard print, and if your dog doesn't like to wear just the band, there's ones that look more like a diaper. There's all different kinds. And it doesn't mean you're a bad owner or a bad dog trainer.
Yeah.
Some little boy dogs and we've run into fewer big dogs. It does seem to, I'm sure there have been some big dogs or medium-sized dogs, but it does seem to be the little boy dogs, maybe a little more macho, maybe a tinier bladder.
I think mine's just macho, because he'll even, if I didn't have the belly band, little bugger, he goes up to the big dogs and tries to pee on their leg. I'm like, you macho little, you know what?
He could die.
Yeah, Yep, thank God for the belly band. Yeah, mine's a macho issue.
I
always check to make sure that we did neuter him. I'm like, I know there's no balls. What the heck are you doing? I did the whole, keep him on attached to me, keep him on, put him in a little smaller area. So, nah, he just still just, yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of the catalog because I'm going to make a little bit of fun of them, but just this description. Cute unisex diaper with stretchy suspender stays in place while protecting your home from accidents. A great solution for incontinent or excited dogs, inappropriate leg lifting, or dogs in heat. Elasticized legs, belly and tail openings, adjustable hook and loop closure at the neck and tail assure a secure, comfortable fit. And it comes in denim, leopard, or pink leopard.
Oh, I'm getting pink leopard for my male dog.
Wow.
Just because he thinks he's macho. Take him down a notch.
That's a long way from the kitchen towel made into a diaper. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, hopefully if we've given you some ideas, if you're interested in teaching your dog to go potty inside correctly, not incorrectly, but hopefully we've given you some ideas. That's it for us this time. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.